Okay, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. Obviously, a big week. I think we utilize the bye week in a real positive fashion. Make sure we continue to work on fundamentals. Spend a great deal of time working on CSU, and also getting our players back in a healthier state. Titus Swin will return to practice today. It's a non-contact day, but we're in hopes to have him this Saturday, which will be great. In reference to CSU, they're really impressed. They're an improving football team. San Jose, as you guys know, is really talented, and they had several opportunities to win the game. And so you're looking at a football team that I think is improving, and Coach Norvell's done a good job with them, continuing to have their team stay in the fight. In that game, they made a lot of plays with big yardage and overcame a lot of long yardage plays. Millen, the quarterback's throwing the ball well. He also can make plays with his legs. Horton's a big-time receiver and made several plays in that game, not only that game, but a lot of them. And Morrow, I think, is one of the more talented running backs in our conference. I mean, he's got he runs hard with his pads low. He's got great balance. He does a great job with yards after contact, and he's got enough speed to make big plays. Ross Simpson is another receiver that has continued to make big plays as well. And so they have some big play receivers. And then Stratton came in and he played really well down the stretch there. And so they had a heck of a shot to win. I know they were disappointed. Over on defense, I think they're really well coached. Their defensive coordinator is a guy that had played for us when I was at NDSU. Freddie Banks really has done a great job. And so I want to really acknowledge his work. And Adam Pilpul, one of our former players, is coaching the linebackers as well. They're an impressive front seven, and their secondary's in well positioned. They're solid in the kicking game. So we're going to need to play well. I think our team is positioned to give a great effort. But as you get in these games, they're really special. So we're excited about the opportunity to play CSU. So questions? Yes, Cody.
Greg, you've been involved in a lot of great rivalries, Nebraska, OU, and Wisconsin, Minnesota, stuff like that. Where does this one stack up?
Well, I think it rises to the top. And one of the things I think it makes it so special is what the game represents, the bronze boot and everything that goes into that. This is something that I personally cherished, and it's one of the great college football rivalries. And so we're excited about that.
Did you know much about it before you got here?
I heard a little bit. I was had a good relationship with Coach Lubick. He used to come visit us at Nebraska quite a bit, and then I knew Coach Glenn and some of the other people. So I knew about it, but it's certainly a storied rivalry, and I know our state embraces it, and our former players do as well.
How much progress has Millen made this year? I know he's out for a while.
Yeah.
It seems like they're a different team when he's out.
Well, he's very, and he was with Coach Norvell at Nevada, so he understands their offense, and I thought he manages things really well. He can make all the throws, and so I thought he really played well against San Jose and gave him a chance to win.
On the flip side, obviously, Andrew, he was a gamer against Hawaii with his running.
Yeah.
What do you want to see him improve passing the
Sure.
ball on the stretch?
Well, first of all, anytime you throw it, you're going to sometimes put the ball in harm's way. The two interceptions, you're going to have some interceptions, but I thought they were not very timely, and we need to take care of the ball better and go through his progression with his reads. He's a hard critic of himself, and he's going to need to make better decisions, put it where it needs to be better. Other questions?
So you talked about, obviously this is a big rivalry game, so how important is it to kind of keep those emotions in check?
Well, it does come down to a game. The fundamentals of winning a football game certainly need to be emphasized. We need to tackle well. We need to be in position well. We need to maintain blocks. Ryan brought up the passing game. We need to make sure, we win the turnover margin. We didn't last week or 2 weeks ago against Hawaii, so we need to capitalize on those things. And so sometimes you've got to put emotions in check. However, I think to acknowledge that it's a big game is something that's really important to our players. And so, we're gonna talk about that during the course of this week. Our players particularly the older guys, understand the meaning of the game. And so these are games that, all our former players will all remember, their experiences in this game. And so this is one of the neat things about college football, that our players have a privilege to play in this game. Yes, Tracy?
The fact you have so many Colorado players on your team, does that add to it?
I think it certainly does. We've done some things to acknowledge those guys in the past. Some of them were not recruited by CSU that are here. A couple guys who chose to come here over CSU. And so we acknowledge those things, Tracy. But more than anything else, I just think it's a rallying point for people within our program, the former players, former coaches, and the people in the state of Wyoming. This is a very meaningful game.
So this is 3 straight championship, or not championship games, but trophy games for you guys. But obviously there's a little bit something different around the boot. Do you see that this one holds any more weight in the locker room or changes that mentality at all?
Yeah, this one has had a longer continuing rivalry. I know Coach Anderson, a couple of years ago didn't even know we had the rifle, and that's because of this time lapse. But this has been an ongoing game and has gone on for quite some time. And the meaning of this one is really special. And I was introduced the very first year to it. And, like I said, it's a really great ball game. I know we treasure the boot, and we do everything we can to keep it.
Greg, it's no secret that CSU's offensive line is filled with youth and it's been very inconsistent this year. Are you surprised how good Avery Barlow has been behind that line?
Well, when I watch him run, I'm not. The thing that you see, he's always able to find a crease. He's able to break tackles, and then he's got enough speed. I believe it was against Hawaii. I mean, he broke off a long run that broke a couple tackles, and he's done that consistently. So, we've talking to our linebacker coach and our defensive front and our secondary guys that you gotta wrestle him down and squeeze him so hard the blood comes out of his ears. So.
Offensive line play is so nuanced, especially teaching it. What's been the key to Joe Tripodi coming in and getting this particular group?
I think a lot of things have come into play there. One, Coach Polasek and Coach Tripodi knew each other. They worked together at Northern Illinois, and when Tim was at Iowa, Joe would go and spend time with them, and so there was a meshing of philosophy. And then this year, just having a bunch of young players who they were like a sponge. They wanted to learn, and they hadn't been introduced with all kinds of different techniques. Now, that's not to say, between Big E and Frank, they had a good library of experience. So Joe came in and meshed in with him, and we kind of continued to work hard at that position. And, there's been times, and I thought against Hawaii, they really had, you guys, you saw after the game begin to wear on that, those 2 or 3 yard holes turn into a 6 yard gain and then turn into big gains. And so that's part of wearing an opponent down. And I know, sometimes our critiquing on the outside, all you do is run up the middle, you do this and this and this. Well, I think you're seeing the benefits of that. And you see also when teams don't have that in their back pocket, how they will begin to struggle. And so we're gonna need to have this offensive line play well. This defensive front, as I was saying before, is very capable, and so it's going to give us a challenge. But I also think we're good in the offensive line also.
Coach, I think a lot of this year has been kind of defying expectations that other people had set for this team, and I don't personally, I'm not in that locker room, but it can be easy to kind of look past certain games and try to get the Mountain West Championship, things of that nature. But do rivalries like this help keep that no mindset kind of locked in place?
Well, whenever you have a young team, they are impressionable. And so we have been very, very focused on the next team at hand. That's the most important game. Without question, the added component of the rivalry and the bronze boot, playing in Fort Collins, all those things, I think, make it really impactful that our guys recognize the challenge that's there. And going on the road again to securing, hopefully another win is hard. And so, this group has just not been one to I think we're just a ham and egg group that, you know what, that whatever we got to do to win the next one, coach, that's what we want to do. And so I don't think any inflated perspective of themselves that they're, I certainly don't think I'm going to need to be like Mike Leach and go folding up the chairs on the sidelines and think that we've just got it made. I just think we're a young blue-collar group, which I really believe the people in Wyoming have embraced this team. There's a lot of guys that, like I said, they're blue-collar, ham and egg guys that play for each other, and they've been a fun group to coach.
How would you describe Marty English's impact on this rivalry? He's been on both sides.
Yeah, he certainly has, yeah.
Players on both sides.
Yeah, and he knows a lot of players on both sides, and he's got a great history, and it's been heartwarming for me to spend time with Coach English and, understand, okay, what things that go into this, and he, like you said, he's been on both sides, and he understands the importance of it.
Does this look like Nevada? Does this offense operate like the Nevada teams you've seen in the past?
Well, I think what Jay, and I should just call him Coach Norvell, however, I've known him a long time. I think what he's done is looked at what they have in their toolbox and made the most of what they have. And so, yeah, there's elements of it, but then you see other elements that they're looking, saying, okay, we had this at Nevada. I think they had like 4 NFL receivers, and they've got good receivers, but they probably don't have 4 of them. What things they can do, and then certainly the running game is much more pronounced than what it was at Nevada.
You still skipping Fort Collins when it comes to getting?
Yes. Yep. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, I've paid a lot of their bills to the equestrian deal. My wife has horses, and so she's become good friends with the surgeons down there, and our bank account reflects that. So I told Jay that he needs to maybe buy me a case of beer. So.
Going back to that offensive line, how much has FIA really kind of anchored that group?
He's done a great job. He's continued to grow. There's a lot of calls that he makes that I know that to the naked eye people don't think are that big a deal, but Coach Tripodi's done a great job schooling him up, and he's meshed in. He's a younger guy. He's listened to the older players, but he's emerged as, a solid center for us, and he'll need to play well again Saturday night. Anything else? Nothing. It's going to be a fun one. Like I said, we're playing for the bronze boot. We're in November. It's a big ball game.